And I wrote a piece in my Bloomberg column the other day called the lagging perfect storm. And what I was basically arguing is that everything that's not great in the economy you can see now, but it hasn't quite hit. And there's a lot of reasons to think that it might start to hit around February to April. One, as we've said, the mortgage equity withdrawal, the homes declining. The number of adjustable rate mortgages, for all the talk about them, the biggest number are going to hit in the reset in the first half of 2008. Extraordinarily high number of them are subprime adjustable rate mortgages. There's a minority of them that are teaser rates, where people are going to see their mortgage go up by $1,500 a month, which many of those families will never be able to pay. And so, it's hard to say we're kind of through the storm at this point. Invite me back in September and maybe I can pitch that we're through the storm. But oil prices went up dramatically. They went up from $60 to $90, ultimately $100. At the same time, for most of that period, gas prices actually went down. They actually went down from $3.14 to $2.80. So as much as it was making headline news, it wasn't really impacting most people directly. For people who are into energy, that's because the wholesalers had huge profit margins that just got squeezed down during that period. And then the question comes on the employment side. One thing Janet Yellen, who was, when I was National Economic Advisor, she was chair of our Council of Economic Advisors. She's now president of the San Francisco Fed. One thing she always would drill in to me was how critical, though, employment is when you're looking at any of these things. And basically, it's the view that a working person is going to do virtually anything to make their mortgage payment. It's not all negative. There are some positives you can see out there, and some big questions. I think, obviously the biggest question is how great the credit crunch continues. I mean, everybody who in March, even some of the smartest people in the world at the Fed, who wrote that the subprime mess would be, quote, contained, are certainly trying to rip those speeches up. Because it's not in the economy how big your sector is, it's the effect it has on confidence. And I think the thing that we learn over and over again, whether it's in South Korea or Indonesia or the United States, is lack of transparency increases the degree of contagion. In other words, if people just don't know how things are, they pull back. So this is the irony at this point. If you were to suddenly see all of your major financial institutions and others marking down their profits, writing things off, explaining exactly what was wrong, that would probably be momentarily depressing for the market. But actually, if it were to add a degree of transparency so people can say, okay, I at least know where the risks are, I know where the harm is, more people, I think, would gain a comfort level. I hate to make this sound like good news, but I mean, at least one of the beauties of economics is sometimes it's hard for certain bad things to happen together. If the economy continues to weaken, as we've seen, there is a chance energy prices will continue to come down. That could obviously be thrown off by a non-economic issue, such as geopolitical risk, problems with Iran, Mideast, etc. But if we are having a downturn overall in the economy, one shouldn't see commodity and energy prices spiking at the same time. If you look over the last month and a half, people's projection for construction costs, from steel to cement to lumber, has all changed pretty dramatically already. And so while there may be enormous difficulty in financing highly leveraged deals here, there may actually be low-cost bargains in terms of the supply necessary for actual renovations, etc. When you have a recession, it is so much psychology. It is companies projecting that people are going to not spend, and since they're projecting that, they decide to hold off on extra hours and extra spending, making those very consumers they were worried about all that much poorer, making them hold back. A stimulus, you want to kind of break that psychology. and they sought to break it by putting $150 billion into the economy. It's not going to be a cure-all, and it's certainly not going to be a cure-all if the worst of the housing cycle does cycle down, but it helps. And at least in government, you have to at least kind of push in the right direction.